about my own personal journey, there are a few points that were really very decisive in creating a destiny line for me. Uh, some of them had to do with saying yes to certain spiritual practices. For instance, at one point I received a third eye initiation, which is really a meditation technique. Started meditating on that very intensely, and within 3 months I was in a state of really intense bliss. So big revelations. So diving into spiritual practices. I enter into states of profound bliss maybe 5, 6, 7 times in my life where there was a massive realization. Some of them happen in nature, different techniques. Sometimes it was with music, sometimes it was with a heart meditation technique, sometimes it was asana or physical posture based, and those were like moments of spiritual awakening. And then there were moments where I took a physical decision. Okay, so for instance, quitting my career as a geologist, that moment, the moment I decided to do that, was very significant in deciding for the rest of my life. You know, right now I'm here sitting in Bali and I'm influencing the lives of thousands of people, you know, through my online presence. But I could as well have been sitting in an office, you know, analyzing charts about drilling offshore, you know, working for an oil company. So that moment, there was something that happened that decided for the rest of my life. And in this transition time, where I was in the process of deciding to shift direction, it was very scary, like actually terrifying. I had lots of anxiety inside of me because I was engaging in a path that was not charted. You know, it's really going into the wild. It's really accessing something that society doesn't sponsor you to do. And you know, there are certain countries which are more countries of opportunities, like for instance the US or Australia, New Zealand, which are younger countries where, you know, people are a bit wild with the decisions that they make. You can be a bit more risk taker. In Switzerland or conservative Europe, you know, it's much more structured. In Switzerland, right now, all the people I studied with, they are still in the branch or in a professional branch where doing the things that they were trained to do. All of them. Everybody in my social circle in Switzerland is doing that. So taking a step out and doing something radically different where there is no path that is given to you in the beginning is like walking like you have no idea where you are going. I could see maybe 1 month, 2 months ahead, but after that I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. You know, and I had some vague ideas, but those ideas were not very sustainable in the beginning. And I was not trained in the business way, so, you know, making money was not like something, you know, yeah, I could do some construction work or something, but it wasn't, you know, easy in the beginning to figure it out. So what happened is that along the path I met certain people with who I could connect, and with the different spiritual trainings that I was following, then that allowed me to follow a path. And then meeting certain people that were key players in awakening my consciousness. And some of them were extremely challenging. You know, sometimes you meet somebody and you see that they have lots of shadow and they come with, you know, there are lots of challenge. But they are going to grab you by the hand and take you through a labyrinth of emotions and spaces that are going to really wake you up. And some of it might happen through meeting a lover or somebody with who you develop a relationship with. That person might be the core player in waking up your consciousness, because they are going to make you face certain energies and certain realities inside of you that you would not be confronted with otherwise. You can go to a yoga school in India and be there focusing on the practices. Then you leave this yoga school and you go back to your home country and you're exposed to emotions and things that nobody has been training you to deal with. You know, it's not like staying in the discipline mode, that's fine, but what when there is this raging fire and anger coming out and you have all these emotions, what do you do with it? And so you have the schools and the systems, but then you have the inner schools. You have the things that intuitively you know you should be doing. Like at one point you go like, I have to go and climb this volcano. And you go, you have no idea where you're going to do it. Or you go like, you're in California and you go, I have to go to Mount Shasta. have a calling to be in Mount Shasta, and I want to climb the volcano at night under the full moon. So where is the teaching? Where is the physical teaching that tells you to do that? It's all intuitive. And so the main guiding force in all that is intuitive. You know, people talk about their heart, right? It's the guidance of my heart. My heart tells me to do that. But what they mean is that there is an intuitive resonance that brings you in a certain direction to do something. And so this is what we call causal consciousness. It goes beyond the rational mind. You have the rational mind here in the lower mental plane, and then the higher mental plane is causal consciousness. And in that consciousness, you do things because intuitively you know they are right. You cannot even rationalize them. Sometimes you will find yourself somewhere around the world, and you say, I have no idea what I'm doing here. But there is a force that took me here. And here in my place, at Vital Gate, here, I keep having people showing up at my doorstep here, and they go like, yeah, what are you doing here? You know, like they feel cold. And then one day a woman comes and sits down with me. She says, I wish I would just meet a teacher, just like that, just walking through the rice fields. And I say, well, what do you think you're doing here? You know, it's like there is natural flow. You know, the circumstances and the synchronicities that bring you to meet the right people at the right time. This is not a rational model. There are forces at play which are much more intuitive and powerful that are engineering these meetings. Hey, you see? These are my neighbor girls. They come over here sometimes to say hi. Interesting. See, we talk about intuitive. And so trusting your intuition and your instinct and being true to yourself, it means that you feel something instead of holding back and sitting back and allowing yourself to just not take action. You become a yes person. You feel something and you take action following that. Otherwise, you might be missing lots of opportunities. But each time you say yes to something that is out of your field, out of the natural things that you would do, you take a small risk because you're stretching your comfort zone. And so that's a challenge. It's a challenge every time.